Everyone, I am just Shawnee, and today we're going to be watching TikTok scary stories. Look here, I did a thing. I got new merch. I have bandanas now, you guys. They're in my story now. It's the first link in the description. Go ahead and copy your bandanas because you know that's my thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and ring that bell so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And thank you guys for supporting me and buying my merch. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's go.
In this last video, a man named Connor Lyle recorded something strange on his doorbell camera. It happened on a Thursday night when no one else had been outside. Connor had just come home at around 8 p.m. and was heading towards his house when suddenly he gets the strangest feeling. It was as if his body, out of instinct, had sensed something threatening. Perhaps thinking it was all in his head, he shrugs it off and doesn't think much of it. But fast forward to him looking at the footage captured of that night, and his stomach drops. The following is his footage. Watch. As it turns out, his fight-or-flight response wasn't just random, but rather completely called for. Right behind Connor, there appears to be a shadowy figure walking by and then disappearing out of nowhere. However, seconds pass, it reappears again, but this time a bit closer. It's as if it was making its way towards Connor. Feeling once again immensely unnerved, he turns around and sees nothing, but clearly, as he would eventually find out, something was behind him. What this was is unknown, but judging by Connor's reaction, viewers think it's best if he stayed away from ever encountering whatever this was. While there has yet to be any updates from Connor regarding this footage, this incident continues to remain unsolved.
Yo, I thought that was his shadow. I was like, is that his shadow? Oh, yeah. And I was like, no, his shadow's right there. I just saw his shadow walk by. Whose shadow is that walking by? Never mind, I want to know. Don't want to know. And then it popped up right behind him, bro. He felt it. He felt it when it popped up and looked back, bro. Girl, bye. Got my head itching. Anyway, what do you think that was? Comment below. Has that ever happened to you? You know, I'm just thinking back to when I come home at night and I use the front door. We got mad locks on the front door. And the times I be looking back, like I feel like I need to look back. And the whole time I'm looking back because I can open up my door without looking at it. All them locks on the front door, I can open all the locks up without looking. I be looking behind me like ain't nobody got time. I live in a good neighborhood, thank God. But you know, it's you think about that stuff when you see stuff like that. Girl, bye. He was about to get got, bro. I'm glad he turned around because imagine if he did not turn around.
Probably one of the most disturbing and unnerving missing person cases I've heard is this of Dennis Martin. Dennis and his family went camping and hiking in Smoky Mountain National Park in 1969. Dennis was only 6 years old, and him and his family came upon another family that were also hiking and had young children. They all stopped to rest, and the kids started playing together, and Dennis and his brother were playing hide and seek, and Dennis decided to hide in some bushes. His father was watching them the entire time as they played as well. The thing is that Dennis never returned from those bushes that he was hiding in. He just never came back out. So a search began, and it was very widespread. Like, the Green Beret were there, FBI was there, local volunteers, everybody came out to find this child. This search went on for over 6 weeks, and the only thing that they found was a sock and a shoe. This spot down here where it says Spence Field is where he went missing. And up there by Rowan's Creek is where another family that was hiking reported seeing a big, hairy man carrying a child. They said they saw this because they heard a child screaming, and that's what they saw. And wouldn't you know it, this is located right on the Appalachian Trail. A very widespread theory is that this was a feral person, and he kidnapped Dennis and took him somewhere in the woods where he's still not been found to this day. Especially because the area where Dennis went missing and the area where he was seen was so far apart in such a short period of time when this report happened. It doesn't make sense for him to have ran through the woods at 6 years old with one shoe on through terrain like that in such a short period of time.
Bro, can we just take a second and think about all the possibilities? Because you know, we some conspiracy baddies, okay? Baddies, okay? So the first thought I had in my mind was the underground tunnels. Who else thought that? Who else? Raise your hand if you thought that as well. Then when she was like, she saw a man that the other family saw a man carrying him. I was just like, okay. It could be Bigfoot. But the Bigfoots, like all the stuff you hear about Bigfoots, they don't want anything to do with humans. They don't. Nope, stop it. They're nice, but they're mean. Because they don't want nothing to do with us. So it's just like, Now, so my other thought in my head was like aliens, but it's just like, the way she said it covered so much ground that quickly is just like, okay, maybe some other technology, maybe tunnels, maybe the government is like made up, like, even though some people think Bigfoot is real or not real, maybe the government is just like, let me put on this Bigfoot costume so people think, just to, you know, do what they do with the babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many thoughts came to my head. What are your thoughts? Comment below. My thing is, why are we hiking as a family, as a man right now? Because I've never met a man who hikes that did not have weapons. Never. Why are we hiking without weapons, man or female? Why are we hiking without weapons? Because if you see something, if you have to react, respond quickly for danger, like you have to kill something to save your life because you are in the wilderness and this is animal territory, what are you doing? You need a weapon. Like, if that family sees some big hairy man carrying a kid, my first thought if I was a parent, not saying that I'm not judging anybody who is a parent, however you would thought, me speaking as a not parent, I don't think I have grounds. I just want to put my comment in here. Me as I think as a parent, or just me as a person, if I see somebody in danger and I have weapons, bruh, I'm going to help them. What? So you tell me you see a big old man carrying a kid and is yelling and you're not going to jump into action? I would jump without even thinking, bruh. I'd be, let me help this person. Girl, bye. These babies, like, we got to protect our babies, honey. No. I was just watching Bo's. I know some of y'all watch Bo's Against the World. I was watching Bo's Break Room. I think she did a Halloween special and she was watching horror stories, short films. Bro, that first one, it's kind of like that. But it wasn't a scary, hairy man. It was like a scary creature, bro. I was just like, I shouldn't have watched this before I watched these scary videos. But yeah, go follow her on YouTube, and she streams as well on Twitch. Go follow these creators in these videos, cause honey, I don't know. Cause if you see your kid missing, girl, bye. Cause there was just like all these people came to look and couldn't find him, and you know, we heard stories of can't find kids. Where'd he go? He was in the bushes, honey. Where did he go? If his dad was watching him the whole time. You feel me? That's why I feel like, oh, it was a tunnel and one of those bushes led to a tunnel and that's how he got. Nope, bye. Don't be hiking. Like, some activities we need to just abandon. Like, let's not hike. It's okay.
These are just short, little, odd occurrences. That's why I titled it this. These are just short, little, odd occurrences that I want to hear from you. Am I tripping? Have I tripped? Aren't these a little odd, a little spooky? Like, what was that? I don't want to know what it is, but what was that? I just wanted to say thank you for all the feedback and everything from my previous 2 videos, because I really was struggling to decide if I was going to post the second video. Because like I said, nobody likes to feel like, okay, everybody thinks you've gone around the bend. These are my final spooky stories or spooky tidbits because I feel I've met my quota. I don't need any more experiences of the kind. We can pass that plate along to, we can pass that plate down the table. Though I do have more stories. So when I mentioned in the second video that I have more stories, I meant like of all different variety. Like this time last year, I was homeless, sleeping in my car, me and my niece and my nephew. Just things that my family attributes to miraculous turnarounds. Like we just feel like God intervened in different situations. That was like the timing just seemed like nothing but divine intervention. Other things that I feel like I've spoken into existence over my life, or manifested, whatever language you want to use for that. Random, embarrassing things, all kinds of stories like that. So if you like my stories, you want to hear more, maybe just let me know and I will intersperse them throughout my general content, my regular content. 1, any of my 80s babies and elder millennials should remember the My Buddy doll. Now, I was told that this is the doll that Chucky from Child's Play was based off of. I don't know if that's true. Never looked into it. Well, I had his equivalent, which was the Kid Sister doll. Yeah. So I had the Kid Sister doll when I was 6, I believe. I had the Kid Sister doll. This particular day I was playing with the doll, I had taken a red ink pen and I drew all over her face like she was bleeding. She had been through some things. I don't know why I wanted her to look like she had been in a fight, but that's what I did. Played with her, and then at bedtime, I sat her on our dresser. I sat her on the dresser with her back like leaning against the mirror. So she was facing us, basically watching over us while we slept. The next morning, so we went to bed, I sat her on the dresser facing us. The next morning we get up and we're going through the living room and we both stopped and looked down at the coffee table and was like, how did my dog get out here? And I said, how did my dog get out here? My sister's like, why is that dog on the table? And we went back and forth like this for a minute. It was like, dude, where's my car? Where's your car? Dude, where's my car? Like, I'm like, how did my dog get out here? And she's like, why is that doll on the table? We didn't get up in the middle of the night and go for a snack. And I didn't get up and go to the bathroom. And she wouldn't have gotten up without me because she would have made sure I went when she went so she didn't have to get up later. So how did the doll get on the table? We're sitting there going back and forth. Finally, my sister's like, no. She grabs the doll by the foot, takes it out into the backyard, and burns it. Because she was not having it. Now, if you thought maybe the doll already looked grotesque because of the red I had drawn all over her face, I remember staring at her face as she's melting and she was making this like grimace, and I mean, it was creepy enough I had to turn away. Active imagination, maybe we were just tripping, but we still to this day puzzle over how any way it could have gotten onto that table. Number 2. So I'm about 13 at this point, and we're living in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And I was a little emo teen. I was trying to imagine my life getting better and what my teenage life was going to be like. Sitting in my room listening to the radio, I'm pretty sure it's the Quiet Storm at that point. And out of the blue, felt like hands just grabbed me. And I mean, are going in. I couldn't get anything in, couldn't exhale, just squeezing. And I'm talking about vice grip. Maybe you could attribute it to reflux, gas. I don't know, right? But I've had gastric acid reflux to where my chest expanded and I couldn't inhale. And my chest was tight as a drum. Like you could thump it, it probably would have echoed. I've had that before. This felt nothing like that because it doesn't explain the gripping sensation. I don't know how long it lasted. All I know is it just stopped because at this point I didn't even think to pray. I was just like, what? I'm sitting there in this room freaking out a little bit, like, but then it just stopped. I remember I got up, went into the room where my mother and my stepdad were, and just like sat in there with him. I didn't tell them what happened because you sound cray. Like, I don't want to tell somebody like, this just happened. I don't even want to tell you this. I don't know why I'm doing this. That's it. That's it to that story. I just started getting into the show Supernatural, and a friend from work loaned me his DVD so I could watch the series. And I'm at home by myself watching it when the TV froze. And it froze like this. If I have the picture, I'll insert it here, but it froze like this. And at first I'm, okay, that's uncomfortable, a little weird. Got up, I fast forwarded or tried, nothing. Rewind, nothing. Okay, turn the TV off, turn it back on, same screen. Took the DVD out, wiped it with alcohol, put it back in, same screen. So I just decided maybe that was enough Supernatural for the day. Once again, maybe that's not creepy to you, but it was a little creepy to me. This isn't a story. This is just what? I'm in my room. I think I was scrolling on social media, sitting on my bed, and I just looked up. I look up and saw this. You might say that's a trick of the light, but the light shifted, clouds went by, and I'm still staring at that. So I took those pictures. Is anybody else seeing this? Can you see this? Is this just a trick of the light? What is that? Well, like, what am I looking at? Am I just tripping? Because, the clouds are shifting. The sun isn't in the same position, or we're not. Well, but that's still... Now, it didn't feel sinister. I didn't feel uncomfortable, but what? So you tell me, what do you think? Am I tripping? Am I just being weird? Or was that a little...
Look here, I remember the My Guy toys. I don't remember the original ones because I don't think I was around, but I remember seeing them. I remember the Chucky dolls because we definitely had a Chucky doll. We definitely had a Susie doll. I think that's what it was, the Susie doll. I think, or Sally. My sister had a Susie doll. That was scary. That thing was scary. And her dad used to live in this big white house that was scary by itself. It didn't have it had electricity, but like only in the living room, and there was no AC, and there was an upstairs that was just freezing cold, and it was just like, it was low-key abandoned because like, even though he lived there, he only lived on the first floor, so the upstairs was scary as crap. So we left that Susie doll, I think that's what it was. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. The Susie doll upstairs in her room. We did not touch that Susie doll. Like, that Susie doll had no batteries, bruh, and still talked. Like, we had a lot of dolls that had no batteries but still magically worked. Like, it was just like, no. I love the fact that they named that other doll Kid Sister. Anybody else? Kid Sister. I didn't have that doll, but I have seen that doll before. Is that the doll with the eyelids move? If that's the case, I've seen that doll before. Girl, bye. You talking about... I'm trying to figure out, because when she was telling the first story, I was just like, how old was her sister, her older sister, for her to burn that doll? Like, we got matches, and I can't really say anything because I remember as a child me setting my bedroom carpet on fire because I found some matches, and I was like, I see people do this, and burnt the carpet. So maybe she wasn't that old, because I was probably, I don't know how old I was. I had bunk beds, so I was pretty young. I was probably like 8 or younger. Maybe. I was still in elementary school. I was still in elementary school because my mom moved me to go to middle school. So yeah, I was younger than 8. So yeah, you done drew on the baby face. Child, I never got that. A lot of my friends drew on their baby's face. I had a baby doll that you could actually draw on her clothes and you just put her clothes in the washing machine and then, you can do it over again. I had a baby doll like that. Anybody have a baby doll like that? I was a baby doll girl. Even though I was a tomboy, I love girl things. I had my dolls. I had my brats. I had all my dolls, my Barbie dolls. I had the Cinderella doll. I think we still have it. I didn't even play with it. It was a collector's item. I was just like, I got it and I was just like, nope, I ain't gonna play with it. I'm just look. That Brandy doll, yep. I had a lot of dolls. So yeah, no, that thing that moved by itself. And if it was me, I wouldn't have thought anything of it because I was a sleepwalker. I slept walk all the time when I was younger. So it wouldn't be anything for something to wake up and something be in a different place. Like even now, wake up, food gone, wake up, stuff move, like just normal. But to know you did not move it and it moved, and nobody else did it, you and your sister didn't do it, that, ooh, girl, bye. Her sister was like, stop playing. Because I saw you put it down. Nope, that's not even it. I commend her sister. She was like, you know what? It's time to get some action. It's time to be in action. Like, we need to be a verb. Y'all remember that when we were younger? Nickelodeon always trying to tell us about verbs. I was just like, okay. We gotta be verbs. But yeah, I commend her sister. The second story, yo, I know that was scary. I don't know what that is. I have had some scary moments and I responded just like you did. Just go into a room and just sit down. Because it was just like, I can't tell nobody. I don't even know if this really happened. I don't think they're gonna believe that this really happened. So yeah, Fred, I don't know what that is, but I'm glad you made it through it because what? Someone's trying to choke you out in the daytime? Nah. Her third story. What was the third story? Shoot, I done forgot the third story. Oh, yeah, I forgot the third story. Because the second story, my mom came in talking about breakfast, and I was just like, yeah. I forgot the third story. The last one. I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, I see what you're saying, like it could have been a reflection of the sky, the clouds, but it also when I first saw it, I was just like, it looked kind of like smoke, like steam when you open up a door and the steam just travels in. It kind of looked like that, and I didn't feel any type of way about it. That's why I was just like, oh, it could be a guardian angel, maybe. I don't know, because it's like fog. It does look like I don't know what it is. Y'all tell me what y'all think it is. Remember the third story now. The third story about the DVD player. Y'all remember that back in the day when we had to borrow people's DVDs and we had Netflix on DVD? I remember we had on DVD The Wire. Watched that with my grandmama. Didn't finish that. Did not. But yeah, that's crazy. I remember borrowing people's DVDs. You remember that VHS tape? That VHS movie about the VHS tape, bruh, that could have been real life stuff because you really went to the store to rent a VHS and like somebody could have replaced. I remember going to the VH store and for DVDs and it'll be a different DVD in there. You would think you'd be getting one movie, it'd be a completely different movie. Like that could have like real life happened. So yeah, friend, I don't blame you about that one. I would have definitely returned those DVDs because my thought was, what'd your friend do to those DVDs? What'd they do? So yeah, that would have been creepy to me. I would have, girl. So yeah.
This story was submitted by a person who had an encounter with a mimic, and their experience was so traumatic that even after all these years, they have absolutely no way of explaining it. In 1999, Lucy was living with her husband, John, in Houston, Texas. It was her first year of marriage, and she was about 8 months pregnant. Being that it was their first year of marriage, their marriage was extremely challenging. They both had to work on New Year's Eve, but were both getting out early. Once they got out, they were arguing as to where they were going to spend New Year's Eve at. Lucy wanted to spend it at her aunt's house, and John wanted to spend it at his family's house. Their argument turned into a screaming match, and John ended up storming out of the house, and Lucy threw herself in bed and cried herself to sleep. When she woke up, she was surprised to see that it was past 10 o'clock and John still wasn't home. She decided that she wasn't going to ruin the rest of the night, got up, put on the best clothes that she had, and went over to her aunt's house to ring in the new year. Once she got to her aunt's house, even though she was surrounded by family, Lucy couldn't help to feel alone, almost like she had been abandoned. Once New Year's came through, she said goodbye to everybody and ended up going back home expecting to run into John. But when she got there, it was evident that the house was completely alone and he had not been there. Feeling completely depressed, Lucy ended up going to bed and woke up at around 2 a.m. When she woke up at 2 a.m., she realized that her husband John still wasn't home. This is when she became worried and decided to page him. Now, mind you, this was 1999, before like cell phones were like really popular. She then became overcome with like sadness and despair. Like, how could this be her life? She's a newlywed, married, pregnant with a husband who is nowhere to be found. With tears in her eyes, Lucy ended up crying herself back to sleep. Moments later, she was woken up by what sounded like a car door being slammed, followed by laughter and voices coming from the driveway. As upset as she was happy that he was home and that he was okay. She could hear him and his brother talking and like making jokes and laughing as they're walking up the driveway. She clearly heard when John opened up the door, like the noise of the key makes, when he shut the front door, when he walked down the hallway to their bedroom. Lucy decided that she wasn't going to start an argument with him at that time, that she was just pretty much going to pretend that she was sleeping, so she turned her back towards the door. Then she felt when John sat down on the corner of the bed and said her name. When Lucy didn't respond, she also heard when he kind of sighed. She then felt when John reached over and started to rub her leg, like trying to get her attention, but Lucy decided that she wasn't going to interact, and she was mainly just waiting for an apology that never came. He stood up, so Lucy figured that he was probably just finishing getting changed. At this point, she decided that she was going to turn around and interact with him, but when she did so, she was shocked. Her room was completely empty and it was completely silent. She quickly sat up and called out his name, but he didn't respond. This wave of like cold panic literally filled her body, and she got up and ran over to the kitchen, and there was absolutely no sign of him ever being there. Just when she's about to dial 911, almost like deja vu, she hears the same noise that she had heard previously. Once John walked through the door, the grin that he had completely disappeared when he saw Lucy standing there completely pale. He automatically asked her what was wrong, and Lucy explained the whole thing, and he told her that she must have dreamt the whole thing. This is getting a little long, guys, so I'm gonna do a part 2. It will be up right after this one, I promise.
Girl, what? Girl, what? Girl, what? Okay. So, did not get a part 2 because it wasn't up yet. This is like last week when I put these videos together, it was not up yet. That was a brand new video. I know y'all saw her earlier, like last week you saw one of her videos. So this is brand new last week. So if you go to her TikTok, it might be a new one up. The part 2 might be up, because honey, what? You know they probably blamed that on her being pregnant. You know that's her. You know that's probably what happened. Girl, oh, you ain't never. I've never heard of those being like that. Like, you hear those, you know, somebody else's voice, but you don't hear those going through the whole step. Like the closing the door of the car, walking up the driveway, other people's voices with it, girl. Bye. Because like I told y'all before I watched this, I watched that Bose. She was watching horror films, and that was one of the things. Girl, that's wow. Because it's just like if it was deja vu. But I've never experienced deja vu where I feel like there were so many senses in it. It's only been visual deja vu. Only visual. It wasn't no, I felt what was going on in the deja vu. I heard I guess kind of heard. No, I don't think I've ever heard my deja vu. I've only seen it. Comment below how your deja vu is and what you think deja vu is, because I always think you're at the right place at the right time. Like it would happen in all the parallels. This was meant to happen. When you have deja vu, it's just like, oh, this is meant to happen. You're on the right track. This is just, you know. Girl, what the freak? She felt something and touched her, turned around and didn't see something. I'm just putting myself in that moment, and it's just like, oh hell no. And the fact that it happened exactly the same way after she went to the kitchen, bro. How do you explain that to somebody? Like, my mind is blown. I'm really mad I didn't get that part 2. Well, shoot, she didn't make part 2 yet, but you know. Well, that happened. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video, and don't forget the merch. Got new bandanas, boo. I'm so hyped. I already put my order in. It's a problem. My Christmas list is ridiculous. And speaking of New Year's, don't like it. Not one of my favorite holidays. I hate New Year's because I usually cry because I'm sentimental. I'm just like, oh, all this stuff from last year. But this year it might not be bad because it was a Nike year, but I've done so much. But anyway, subscribe.